TIFU by taking acid and going to church. So I want to start this off by saying I'm not religious, but my family is. My grandaunt passed away recently and we held mass for 1 month. So I have a friend in New Mexico who has anything you could want in the world of psychedelics. I've only taken LSD once in a club from a bald, sickly looking dude who literally looked like Voldemort, and that was surreal. So I decided to give it another try in the comfort of my own home since I've been stressed out lately. The acid comes in blotter form and is very potent, as my friend says, so I decide to cut it in half and take some. I do a little breathing and stretching while coming up, then take the other half an hour later. This is when things start to get crazy. At this point I'm seeing fractals in the walls. I go outside and the sky is breathing. I can see the solar rays with my own eyes. I go back inside as it's becoming very intense, and my mom comes in saying today is 1 month since her aunt passed and they're holding mass for her. I'm already having a hard time just looking at my mother as her face turns into a light show. I wasn't sure whether to go or not, but decided to go out of love for my family. I decided to take a quick cold shower in hopes it calms the trip down. I undress and look at the mirror, staring at all my features, getting lost in my eyes. I decide to hop in before I spend an hour admiring my reflection. The cold shower helps, but I realize I probably shouldn't be driving. I asked my mother if she could drive us and make up an excuse about being low on gas. We get there and as soon as I step in the church I am blasted by heavenly hymns and the whole trip gets even more intense. I realize I am peaking in the house of God. Church music on its own is already trippy enough. Hearing that shit on acid had me in a fucking spiral. It sounded so angelic. I look at all the paintings and then at the stained glass, which BTW looks even more colorful on acid. I then look at the image of Jesus on the cross and it looks so brutal and I felt as if I could feel his pain. His face started melting and I looked away out of respect. Old habits. My grandmother then comes to me and hugs me, starts crying. It was her sister that died. I feel a strong sense of connection and for a moment, a glimpse of my grandaunt comes into my mind and she tells me to tell my grandmother that she is awaiting her in heaven. I tell her this and my grandmother starts crying even more and kisses me on the cheek and walks away. The mass ended after an hour of me getting lost in the choir music and admiring the art. Did end up almost losing my mind at one point and regretting everything, so I went outside the remainder of the trip and stared at the moon the rest of the time. I didn't know what to make of this whole experience since I am no longer Christian, believe in God in my own way, so I decided to write this in hopes of closure.